Yes guys, what's up? Hopefully you can hear me okay. I've literally just filmed this entire intro outside on the balcony, but then I realised that the audio was shit. I haven't got my mic at the moment, but this video is going to be vlog style, but I'm going to be going over and providing loads of value in terms of, well, helping you with fat loss going into summer. I'm in good condition at the moment, but I want to really push it over the next, I would say, 8 to 10 weeks and see what sort of condition I can get into. As I'm maintaining my physique composition with relative ease at the moment. So for me, as a high performer, I'm kind of thinking, what could I look like if I just pushed it a little bit harder? So the main variables that we're going to play with and manipulate for fat loss, and that'll be mentioned in the video and future videos over the next few weeks, is going to be nutrition. So I'm going to be documenting what I'm eating, giving you advice on the amounts of calories that you should be consuming and where you should be, most importantly, be placing your carbohydrates throughout the week if you are doing strength training and combining that with running, endurance training, high rocks like I am at the moment. Expenditure is obviously a big one as well. So daily step count non-negotiables, 10 to 12,000, which I'm hitting already, to be fair. And obviously the strength training side of things, which I think is the variable that a lot of people just don't put enough emphasis into when you're trying to lose body fat. Like, you want to maintain your muscle mass and maintain your physique. So I'm doing a push session later on today. I'll be documenting that. But to give you a bit of an insight, I think I'll be able to lean down relatively quickly on 3,000 calories per day. I'm going to be going slightly higher and slightly lower some days. So I'll be placing more carbs on my higher output days, like for example, my track sessions, my longer runs, and my high rock sessions. And then on days like today where I'm just doing weights, they are essentially lower output days. I'll be pulling back a little bit on calories and carbohydrates. So today, for example, I'll probably consume between 2,750 and 2,800 calories because I'm just doing push today. It's probably my least taxing session of the week. So I'm excited to take you through it. Obviously, you'll notice it's a little bit of a different background here to my usual vlogs. I'm actually staying in my mate's apartment, my mentor's, at the moment for a few weeks whilst we're getting some work done at our place. It's a really good view. I'll show you at the end of the video, but as I say, I did try and film outside before, but it's too loud without the mic. So I'll be picking that up in a couple of days and the audio will definitely improve. But I'll be checking in a few minutes with my first meal of today. So as I say, lower output day today. So what I'm going to have is, I'm really going to focus on high protein, moderate fat to keep me satiated, and a decent amount of carbs as well. So I'm going to have some 0% fat Greek yogurt with some protein powder, some fruit, and probably some dark chocolate as well. If I could give you one tip to stay satiated and help you with managing hunger if you are trying to lose fat, is do not shy away from fat. Yes, obviously you don't want to be wasting excess calories on fat because it is more calorically dense than proteins and carbs, but I find for me it keeps me very satiated if I combine it with a good amount of protein in a meal as well. And then I'll be placing my carbohydrates around my training later on in the day to support performance and recovery. And that's the advice that I would give to anyone trying to do this, and it's the advice that we give to all our clients as well. So I'll check in later on, I'll take you through my day. In terms of work, really heavy check-in day yesterday, Monday. Pretty much all my check-ins are done. So it's just this light that my mate Dan's got, but yeah, almost all the check-ins are done. So today I'm going to head to a cafe, get out, because I was literally glued to the desk all of yesterday doing that. We've had a few new sign-ups over the last week, which is amazing. So I'm going to be setting them up with the team today. I've got my team call, my coaches, in about half an hour, so I might check in with that as well. Okay, so we've got breakfast, meal one, whatever you want to call it. Let me turn the camera on one sec. So pretty standard breakfast: frozen blueberries, 0% fat Greek yogurt, protein powder, honey. I don't know the exact calories and macros on this because I don't have a scale with me at the moment, but I know roughly where it is. Blueberries are a little bit too frozen. I'm going to put them on the balcony to melt them. And I'm actually frying some bread here because my mate Dan doesn't have a toaster, but it actually tastes unreal. So frying the bread, a little bit of butter on, a little bit of salt, really good. But I pretty much, I had that exact meal yesterday morning, and I think I tracked it at 700 calories, so I'll just put that through. And that would be a big bit of advice, is just eat the same things every day and then switch them up when you get bored of them. I'll do that across breakfast, lunch, snacks, and then dinners, usually a little bit different. And something I'm doing at the moment is I'm ordering one meal a day as well, just simply to save me time. Cost me between 10 to 15 pounds, obviously converted to Dubai currency over here, and I'm quite willing to pay that every day to save myself some time and just focus on work, because cooking 3 meals a day, it takes quite a while. But yeah, I'm going to get that down me, and then I'm going to go to downtown and head to a coffee shop and work there for a couple of hours.
I want to touch 90 kilo here soon.
Yeah.
Before the half, and then I'll run the half, and then that'll give me 15 weeks before Sydney.
Yeah.
Just over 19k, so
I think you'll be fine.
not too far away.
Yeah.
That's
good, mate. That's awesome. So we can obviously talk about it on the call, Harry, with the 2 new starters. Did you see the other one?
Yeah.
I sent you the other one through. I wasn't sure about him because he was like, I want to get started on Monday, and then he just didn't. He ghosted me for like 3 days, but then he paid overnight. So yeah, he will actually be a really good client.
For those calls?
Yeah. Because I like to catch people just before work. I think that works. They just get up, get on the call, and then obviously in and around that you can.
So that's the team call done there. Had a one-to-one call with Peter, who is our head of strength and performance, and had a team call with Peter and Harry. Harry is the head coach and also the nutritionist as well. So running over client renewals, 2 new clients that are to be onboarded this week for Peter, and I've got a couple coming on with myself as well. Filming on the DJI today. It's definitely not as good quality as the Sony camera that I have, but if I've realised one thing about vlogging, it's about just removing friction and making it as easy as possible. And this has got a little tripod on the bottom, so I can just whip it out whenever I want and film something, whereas the Sony is like a bigger camera. It's a little bit clunky. You can't set it up without having a huge tripod as well. So heading down to a coffee shop, I'll just be on the waters and an iced Americano, and I'll probably come home in a couple of hours and order my lunch. I've been ordering Mexican burrito bowls, literally just loads of veg, beans, rice, chicken, really clean, and then I'll cook dinner. So that'll be my day of eating, and I'll check in later on. And step count wise, I'm probably around 3,500 now, so I'm definitely going to need to get out for a walk later on, but I'm going to be going to the gym as well, so I might do a few steps on the treadmill. So that'll be a bit of advice for steps as well, as try and accumulate them throughout the day rather than having to do like 8 to 10,000 in one go. You'll absolutely hate your life. So I try and break my steps up into like 3, usually like 1 longer walk and then 2 short walks throughout the day. This is the setup. We've got the double espresso. Look at that. Sparkling water. Millie. This is where I used to live. First main movement of the workout, incline dumbbell bench. Just did about 10 minutes warming up my rotator cuffs with some cable rotations, face pulls, and I did a little bit of 2 sets of crunches as well, just warm the core up. I didn't video that because it's boring, but sick lighting in here. Such a cool gym. We ever do 2 heavy working sets on the incline dumbbell press and then 1 back off set. So hopefully 2 sets of 6 to 8 with the 40 kg dumbbells. I have done this before. Let's see how it goes. done the first 2 working sets there. You will have seen the first one, 40 kg for 7, I think. Dropped the weight down to 38 for the second set. And I'm pretty sure I got 8 out there. I'd rather drop the weight, have better form, better connection with the muscle, rather than just muscling through it for the sake of it. So probably gonna do the 32s now, just get as many reps as possible, hopefully minimum 10. Then we're gonna move on to weighted dips, just 2 working sets. I'm really loving this style of training at the moment where it's about intensity, 2 to 3 top working sets, well not top working sets, but 2 to 3 quality sets on each movement, 1 rep away from failure, really good connection with the muscle. There's no need to do crazy volume. I've been training for 14 years. For me now it's just about taking those small improvements each week, even if that's just a slight increase in weight or a slight increase in reps by 1 or 2, whatever it is. But yeah, this gym's so cool. This is the apartment gym. I'm gonna get my mic tomorrow, or tomorrow. Start filming that to improve the audio. Look at that there. Wow. Training session done now. I'm just about to jump on the call with my client and then, as I said, jump in the sauna. Such a good session. Just really nice to see the numbers going up pretty much each week, even if it's just 1 or 2 reps. Progression really is the most important thing, I think, with not even in terms of getting fitness results, but just staying motivated. Like you have to see some form of progression, even if that's just you improving your form, going a little bit slower on the tempo. Same with the running as well. There's nothing better than seeing your metrics improve with running, like your heart rate go down or stay the same when you run faster, or the same pace. Obviously setting race PBs and stuff like that, seeing improvements each week with the interval session, which is what I've got tomorrow. So I'll definitely film that. I might actually have enough for this video to just make it 1 video for today, or I might combine it with tomorrow, I'll see. But yeah, just a really good session, and I posted on my story, if you can see here, probably won't be able to read it, but on Instagram there, obviously just one sec, obviously a topless selfie there, but 28 next week is my birthday, and I'll have been training for 14 years as of next week, possibly even a little bit longer, because I'm pretty sure I started doing some bodyweight training when I was 13, and like that just goes to show like how much work I've done, like literally thousands of hours in the gym, and not even to mention the hundreds, probably thousands of hours that I've spent running at this point as well. And I think when you take coaching clients on and they're potentially not happy with the speed of their results, I always try and bring them back to the fact that like I've actually been doing this for well over a decade. Obviously not to the point where I would be with a coach. Obviously the first few years of training I wasn't doing things properly. I didn't really understand progressive overload. My nutrition wasn't as good as it could have been. But in the first few years of training you do obviously get that massive spike in results just because you're new to it. But nonetheless there's no substitute for just doing things for years and years and years. And like so easy to maintain composition, maintain muscle mass now if you know what you're doing and you know how to handle your nutrition. So if you're not where you want to be and you wish you were bigger and leaner, fitter, whatever it is, look at the people who you aspire to be like in terms of body composition, maybe performance targets, things like that, and understand they've probably been doing it for years and years and years. Like I'm fairly new to running in the grand scheme of running. I've only been running for like 4.5 years, and I'm looking at these guys running like 250 marathons and stuff like that, and they've been running for, not only have they been running for probably twice as long as me, but they've also been doing much higher volume. So there's always going to be someone who is way ahead of you, without sounding cliche. But yeah, gonna jump on this call now and then finish off the day. Yes. Good morning, guys. Just about to go down to the track now. It's 6:30. I've had 3 rice cakes and honey, done a little bit of stretching. Actually realised that I'm out of water and it's too early to order water from a shop, so I've been drinking coconut water. I'm gonna have 2 of these before I run as well. But yeah, everything's sorted, everything ready. The workout today is, obviously I'm gonna put the camera up and film it when we get there, but I think it's 2 by 1600 meters, 2 by 800 meters, and 4 by 400 meters. And the idea would be to slightly increase the pace as we move through the workout. So I think we'll probably start the 2 by 600 around probably a 3:55 to a 4 minute pace, and then probably bring it down by 10 seconds per kilometer on each of the segments. But had an okay sleep, clocked 6 hours. Ideally would have liked a little bit more, but I've had 8 hours for the 2 nights before, so I'm okay. So as long as I get a good sleep tonight, I'll be all right. I'm also gonna have one of these goo gels as well, and I also had a small glass of orange juice, so that'll probably be around 60 grams of carbs pre-workout, which is absolutely perfect for a session that'll probably last about 40 minutes. So I'm gonna get down there now. It's about a 20-minute drive, and I'll put the camera up. So I decided last night that I'm gonna give the Barcelona Marathon next year, March 2026, a go. I'm gonna train with Simon, who I'm training with today, and we're doing the Hyrox prep together. We did the half marathon prep together as well, and we want to try and go for sub 3, which is going to be a big ask, but we have pretty much a year we have about 8 months to prepare for the race prep, and then obviously a 16-week specific marathon prep, really focused on building those longer runs up and building that speed as well. So the main focus for me, if we're going to do that, which I've committed to now, is building my aerobic base over summer, and also working on a few weaknesses that I have that kind of have come up in the half marathon prep and the Hyrox prep. I've got a little bit of a sore left knee. I think I mentioned it on the channel before, but it's never been enough to like prevent me from training, and I can always I'm not going to say push through, because push through implies that you are literally pushing through pain. I almost just have like this kind of like dull ache in my knee post training sessions. It's really not bad, but I'm very in tune with my body, so I'm always very careful when things like that come up to not push through too much. So throughout this Hyrox prep, I've been limiting myself to just 2 runs a week outside of the Hyrox training, because I know that if I put that 4th run in there, things will probably get worse. But I think based off some tests that I did the other day, and some movements that I've been doing in the gym, I think it's just down to I've got a weaker, less stable left hip, so I really just need to work on building that glute strength up. There's a really good movement that I've started putting in my routine called, it's essentially a step down where you focus on the eccentric portion of the rep, and you control the eccentric and then drive back out of it. And my left side is way more wobbly than my right, and like obviously that's the side that I'm getting the knee pain on. But as I say, it's literally probably like a 2 out of 10. So I'm hoping that removing because with the Hyrox training as well, we've been doing obviously this 1 speed session a week, which we do now, and then 2 days later on a Friday we do the Hyrox session, and we're pushing 4 minute to 4 minute 10 pace on all of the segments there. So it's essentially 2 speed sessions in a week within 2 days of each other, which I would never program for any of my clients or myself. It's just the way that it's worked out for us. So I think by pulling back, once we've got the Hyrox prep done, and literally just doing 1 speed session a week on a Wednesday, and all the rest of my runs will be slower aerobic, I'm hoping that it kind of clears up. And then outside of that, in the gym twice a week when I'm doing my leg training, I'll also be working on that as well. I sound like I'm really injured. I'm not. It's just a couple of niggles. I'm very hyper aware of my body, but I also have a weak glute medius muscle on my right side. For whatever reason, that's always been very weak, and it's always led to me kind of having a little bit of a hip shift. if I kind of watch videos of myself back, I notice that my right hip kind of like goes to one side, and essentially what the glute medius is, I think a lot of people when they talk about the glutes, they think of like the big muscles on girls. That's actually the glute max, whereas the glute medius is a small muscle kind of on the lateral outside of the knee, sorry, not the knee, the hip, which helps to stabilize the pelvis. So if that muscle isn't strong enough relative to the rest of the muscles around the hips, then there's always going to be some instability around the hips there, and there's going to be kind of like a side shift when you run and when you're doing weights and stuff like that. And I've definitely noticed that of myself, and I feel like recently it's become very tight and very weak for whatever reason. So I'm really trying to isolate that muscle, warm it up prior to training sessions, prior to runs and lower body strength sessions as well. So I'll document that part of the journey as well and try and strengthen that up, because that's been bugging me quite a lot recently. And if that muscle isn't doing its job, you can find that your hip flexors take over a lot and your hip flexors get very, very tight, which is definitely why I feel like on my runs sometimes I feel like my right hip flexor is doing a lot of work, because essentially if the glute medius isn't working, the hip flexor takes over to compensate. So it all makes sense, but it's just about spotting these things and then integrating the right movements into the program to fix them, and also accepting that it's going to take a fair bit of time for that to correct, whilst also managing the running volume as well. But that's the beauty of obviously being a coach, having the experience, being able to test that, identifying those imbalances and weaknesses, and then integrating that into a training program. But essentially to strengthen the glute medius up, I'm going to be doing a lot of isolation work. I might get a video of me doing it before the run. So you do isolation work first, high rep ranges, literally picking out that muscle group and making it switch on, and then you integrate more kind of compound movements that will also use the glute max, the hip flexors, the hamstrings, the quads, and putting them in a training routine like that and kind of bringing it all together. But I think the piece of the puzzle I've been missing is that isolation work, because I always do a lot of these compound movements in my own training, like step ups, split squats, single leg deadlifts, but if that small muscle isn't working properly, then you're always going to hold yourself back. So that's it. And like realistically, I wouldn't have really noticed this unless I was doing all the running. And these little niggles and injuries, they always start to present themselves. Well, I found they start to present themselves when you increase mileage or you increase intensity with the running. And once we started doing that half marathon prep, we were doing 2 fast runs a week, and that's when it started to flare up. So yeah, it's interesting, but we'll work on it. And as I say, probably 7.5 months before we would need to start that actual marathon prep. So I really need to sort it out before then, because there's no way I'm going to be able to push that race pace of 4:15 for a marathon with the little imbalances that I've got going on at the moment. So we will work on it. Speed session done. I got a few clips, so I'll insert them. Well, I'll probably have inserted them before this, but a rundown of the workout was 1.5k warm-up, so basically a mile. Then we did 2 by 1600 at around a 350 pace, 345 to 350 pace with 2 minutes rest. Then we did 2 by 800 at about a 330 to a 335 pace with just 90 seconds rest, and then 4 by 400, 60 seconds rest, and we hit them at between 305 and 310. I think pushed the last couple of there, but really good session. I love running on my own. I love doing like the slower, longer stuff by myself. It's a good opportunity to like think, but I think when you're trying to push those paces, it's good to do it with other people. And I think as well, actually, to hold back a little bit, because sometimes on the interval training, when I do it myself, I literally just try and redline it. And if I've learned anything about running this year, well, last year and this year through that half marathon prep, is like you don't want to redline your interval training, because you actually push too hard to the point where it's very hard to recover. and then therefore adapt. So that's something that I've been better at doing this year, is like push myself to probably an 8 to an 8.5 out of 10 as opposed to a 9.5 out of 10. But yeah, haven't seen Josh since summer Marbella, when he was just getting into running, and to be fair to him, he kept up with us the whole way. He was pushing it. So just goes to show, like, he obviously comes from a bodybuilding background. I think he's like 88, 89 kilos, and he's keeping up with us. So fair play. But yeah, and I think we're all actually going to do the Barcelona Marathon next year in March, which I obviously mentioned before. So yeah, good session. Obviously, because the topic of this video was fat loss, so that's obviously a very stressful workout. I've pretty much hit my step count for today. I will have hit probably 10,000 steps already. My goal is 12,000, so I literally don't need to go and do any steps today. So the main focus of today, when we're thinking about fat loss, is recovery, because to lose fat, you want your body to be in as least stress state as possible. Obviously, doing that sort of interval training, it's very stressful. You release a lot of cortisol when you do that sort of training. So now we need to focus on just relaxing today, bringing the body back down into a rested state. So I'm going to go home, get some food. I've probably had about 80 grams of carbs already today. I've been drinking loads of coconut water because I ran out of water. I obviously had the gel, I had the rice cakes, had some orange juice, so literally just pure carbs. So I need to go home, get a good amount of protein in the system, some fats, some carbs as well, again to aid that recovery process. Because this is a higher output day, I'll be pushing up to probably 3,100, maybe even 3,200 calories. Yesterday, calories finished off I think at 2,800. So over the last 3 days, I'm averaging 3,000, and I'll do the same-ish today, 3,100, 3,200, depending on appetite. And then tomorrow it's just weight training, so it'll be a lower calorie and lower carb day, as I said. So basically bouncing between 27 and 3,100, 3,200 calories throughout the week to average out perfectly at around 3,000. I'll assess body composition and how I'm feeling at the end of this week. I'm not really looking at my scale weight too much, to be honest. I'm going off visual progress, because I don't actually have any scales at the apartment I'm staying at the moment, but I'll probably weigh myself tomorrow morning because I'll be staying with Misha. But yeah, gonna go home now and start chilling out basically. Yes, people, what is up? I don't think I've checked in for this vlog over the last couple of days. I think the last clip I did was the interval workout, but I did some short form content, got some reels for Instagram, so back on the vlogs. I'm probably just going to span this vlog over a couple more days, but obviously the topic of the video is fat loss, so got a little bit of value for today to give you. So going out for dinner tonight, trying to stay relatively close to my calorie target. I actually unintentionally have brought my calories down over the last couple of days. I've still hit my protein, I've just been a little bit lower on carbs than where I usually am. Just I've been really busy and didn't organise my meals, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. So essentially what I've unintentionally done is banked a few calories for the weekend, which is what I would tend to do anyway, because I'll usually go out for at least 2 meals on the weekend. They're not, crazy meals where I'm having 3 courses, but going out to a nice restaurant tonight. So I know that I'm realistically probably going to have 1,200 calories there. But this week was the first of this little mini cut that I'm doing. So it's very much just about finding my feet with things. I'm still tracking all my calories. I'll see where my average calories are at the end of the week, but I know I'm going to be pretty close to 3,000 calories on average, which based off the amount of output and activity I'm doing at the moment with the training and the steps will definitely be a deficit for me. So then I can kind of consolidate all the data at the end of the week, see where I could potentially improve, and then set my targets for the next week. But as you can see, I'm looking pretty lean. I'm really happy with it. And as I say, this is me not really pushing too hard. Well, I'm not actually pushing, I'm just doing a lot of training, which is what I love to do anyway. So it's just a case of just staying consistent with the nutrition. The only thing that I would say that I really have to try, not hard with, because it's not that hard, is doing the 10 to 12,000 steps a day. I drive everywhere in Dubai, so I do have to dedicate and allocate time to do that. And I was having that conversation with one of my clients on a call today, is you actually have to go and do the steps. Unless you're walking to work and you're commuting and you're accumulating a lot of steps through your daily routine, you need to actually just find the time to go and do it. I like to combine it with calling people, responding to client messages, listening to podcasts, rather than just literally walking for the sake of it. So yesterday was just a weight training day, no running. So I had to go out and get those steps. So I went for like a 45 to 50 minute walk and tanned at the same time, which is why I'm looking really dark now. But yeah, to summarize, it is going well. So it's 20 to 5 now. I have a consultation call at 5:30. I'm going to have a high protein meal now. I'm going to have yogurt, protein powder, fruit, and then that'll be me until I go out tonight. But what I've had to eat today was, so we did a big high rock session this morning. So I had like loads of carbs this morning. I had a Pocari Sweat, which is almost like a Gatorade with slightly less calories in. I had a running energy gel just for more carbs. And what else did I have? 3 rice cakes and honey. So literally probably around 100 grams of carbs there. Pre-high rock session. Post-high rock session, we had a smoothie. Again, just more carbs straight in. And then I had a protein shake at the gym. And then I had a big meal of sourdough, avocado, and loads of eggs. So loads of protein there. I'll hit probably 50 grams of protein in this one as well. So that'll probably take me close to, I would say probably 120 grams of protein. And then at dinner, I'll get some meat or fish or both, because I think it's like a set menu thing. And that'll take me up to 180 grams of protein, which is what I need. And then as I say, I'll track everything, I'll estimate. You can never be 100% accurate when you eat out, it's just the way it is. And then back on it tomorrow. So I think within 2 to 3 weeks, I'll be looking absolutely sick. But it's been a good start to it. I'm going to see how long this video is. And if it's getting towards the half an hour mark, I'll upload it. But this will basically be part 1 of the fat loss series. But I might get some clips later on tonight as well.